Hello and welcome to this exploring session. Today we are completing so this is the third part of the adventures of Marjorie Mumblecrust. No, this is the third part of Ralph Roister Doister by Nicholas Udall. We're going from Act 4, Scene 4 to the end of the play. We're going to try and pick up the energy and the enthusiasm and the comic business of the play. In many ways, the plot so far is relatively straightforward. Ralph Roister Doister wants to marry Custance. Custance doesn't want to marry him, and he's been annoying her for 4.5 acts to the point where she's just lost it. She's just lost it. Terrible things are going to happen, and just by hanging around so much, it looks like he may be putting in danger her actual marriage with someone she actually likes. So it's all go in the session today. And as I say, we will have a reappearance of our favourite Mumblecrust, who we loved from our first session and who we've missed. If anything was wrong with the previous session, there just wasn't enough Mumblecrust. So to read through this quite doubly tricky final act and a bit, we have reading Christian Custance today is...
Hi, I'm Francis Cox. I'm an actor living in Amsterdam.
Reading our favourite Mumblecrust as well as Gawin Goodluck is...
Hi, I'm Alan Scott, based in Suffolk.
Reading Truepenny and Suresby today is...
Hi, my name's Elizabeth, and I'm also living in London.
Reading Tristram Trusty today is...
Hi, the thoroughly trustworthy Simon Nader. I'm an actor, writer and director living by a lake in County Wicklow, Ireland.
Would you buy a second-hand car from this man? No. So reading today, Ralph Roister Doister is...
Hello, Dan. I'm an actor in Montpellier, France.
Reading Merrygreek, the parasite who leeches off Ralph Roister and feeds his mood swings is...
Hello, I'm Helen Good. I'm a historian. I'm in London.
Reading Tibbet and Harpax today is...
Hello, I'm Sarah Blake. I'm an actor, writer and director living in Germany.
Reading Alyface and Doughty today is...
Good morning, my name is Lynn Freitas and I am coming to you from the northwestern United States.
And reading in any parts where the doubling has completely fallen apart because I'm useless, and also perhaps reading any songs we come to is...
I'm Eric, and I'm here with the very extreme lighting in the background. So yeah, if I disappear because of like a halo or something, just don't worry.
Because he lives on a comet.
I was going to say, isn't lens flare very in with filmmakers at the moment? Isn't it?
Yes.
Isn't it got a bit overdone? So, that's why it's very modish, very modish. And I'm your host, Robert Crighton. I am a storyteller, writer, actor, and producer of the Beyond Shakespeare stuff. And of which this is one. Obviously, if you're watching this on YouTube, you can subscribe to the videos. Go and do this is what we're supposed to do at the beginning of videos, and sort of go and like and subscribe. Do what you like. It's your life. So we are going from Act 4, Scene 4. We have just left a scene where Roister Doister has been really plighting his troth to Custance for the 4th or 5th time of the play so far. Merrygreek has been pushing for his case as well, and has definitely been they've been getting into some trouble together, and they've just run away because Custance has got really very cross. And Custance is left alone on stage and is going to be calling for reinforcements because she's gonna, if he comes back, she's, ooh. So, Act 4, Scene 4, Custance is on stage.
So, Sirrah, if I should not with him take this way, I should not be rid of him, I think, till doomsday. I will call forth my folks, that without any mocks, if he come again, we may give him raps and knocks. Madge Mumblecrust, come forth. And Tibbet talk apace. Yea, and come forth too, Mistress Annot Alyface.
I come.
I come.
And I am here too, at length.
Like warriors, if need be, ye must show your strength. The man that this day hath thus beguiled you is Ralph Roister Doister, whom ye know well enow, the most lout and dastard that ever on ground trod.
I see all folk mock him when he goeth abroad.
What, pretty maid, will ye talk when I speak?
No, forsooth, good mistress.
Will ye my tale break? He threateneth to come hither with all his force to fight. I charge you, if he come, on him with all your might.
I, with my distaff, will reach him one rap.
And I with my new broom will sweep him one swap, and then with our great club I will reach him one rap, and I with our skimmer will fling him one flap. Then Truepenny's firefork will him shrewdly fray, and you with the spit may drive him quite away.
Go, make all ready that it may be e'en so.
For my part, I shrew them that last about it go.
And there is some exit from Tib there by the looks of it. But in a moment we're going to have, is Tristram Trusty coming on stage, I think, in a moment. And maybe Truepenny is all a little confused. Okay, Custance continues.
Truepenny did promise me to run a great pace, my friend Tristram Trusty, to fet into this place. Indeed, he dwelleth hence a good start, I confess. But yet a quick messenger might twice since, as I guess, have gone and come again. Ah, yond I spy him now.
You are a small girl, sir. I make girl a vow. My mistress Custance will in me put all the blame. Your legs be longer than mine. Come apace, for shame.
I can thank thee, Truepenny. Thou hast done right well.
Mistress, since I went, no grass has grown in my heel. But Master Tristram Trusty here maketh no speed.
That he came at all, I thank him in very deed. For now have I need of the help of some wise man.
Then may I be gone again, for none such I am.
You may be by your going, for no alderman can go. I dare say a salad pace ye can.
Truepenny, get thee in, thou shalt among them know how to use thyself like a proper man, I trow.
I go.
And Truepenny goes.
Now, Tristram Trusty, I thank you right much, for at my first sending to come ye never grudge.
Dame Custance, God ye save, and while my life shall last, for my friend Goodluck's sake ye shall not send in waste.
He shall give you thanks.
I will do much for his sake.
But alack, I fear great displeasure shall he take.
Wherefore?
For a foolish matter.
What is your cause?
I am ill encumbered with a couple of doors.
Nay, weep not, woman, but tell me what your cause is, as concerning my friend, is anything amiss?
No, not on my part, but here was Sim Suresby.
He was with me and told me so.
And he stood by while Ralph Roister Doister, with help of Merrygreek, for promise of marriage did unto me seek.
And had ye made any promise before them twain?
No, I had rather be torn in pieces and slain. No man hath my faith and trust but Gawin Goodluck, and that before Suresby did I say, and there stuck. But of certain letters there were such words spoken.
He told me that too.
And of a ring and a token. That Suresby I spy did more than half suspect that I my faith to Gawin Goodluck did reject.
But was there no such matter, Dame Custance, indeed?
If ever my head thought it, God send me ill speed. Wherefore I beseech you, with me to be a witness, that in all my life I never intended thing less. And what a brain-sick fool Ralph Roister Doister is, yourself knows well enough.
Ye say full well, Lewis.
Because to be his wife, I ne'er grant nor apply. Hither will he come, he sweareth by and by, to kill both me and mine, and beat down my house flat, before I pray for your aid. Therefore I pray for your aid.
I warrant you that.
Have I so many years lived a sober life, and showed myself honest, maid, widow, and wife, and now to be abused in such a vile sort, to see how poor widow live, all void of comfort?
I warrant him do you no harm, nor wrong at all.
No, but Matthew Merrygreek doth me most appall, that he would join himself with such a wretched lout.
He doth it for a jest, I know him out of doubt. And here cometh Merrygreek.
Then shall we hear his mind?
Before we hear the mind of Merrygreek, let us just pause on the way that's all going. So yes, there was one line accidentally given to Tib that shouldn't have been. So Tib's that's why there was a little mini pause there, as they're all sort of talking about going off and taking out Roister Doister. It's interesting. Custance being really quite sharp with her servant there. You know, and go, you know, oh, folk, Malcolm, and excuse me, I was talking.
Yeah.
You know, it really put her in a place. I thought,
Yeah.
not inconsistent with Custance, and you know, she's under a lot of stress.
Yeah.
So, you know, I think we should be fair on that point.
And Tib's already proved herself untrustworthy and is very much on probation.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, and so they all exit to make ready. So at that moment when I said I wasn't quite sure who was exiting and who was entering, that's pretty much everybody leaves Custance to go and pick up weaponry, presumably. They're all tooling up, ready to take on the invaders. And then we get this scene with Truepenny and Tristram Trusty. So yes, so thoughts in the room about this the plot as it starts to spiral. The wheels start to really turn there.
Yeah, Truepenny is a nice young lad who is going to have to grow up and be a man and take on a man's role. But he's a lot faster on his feet than Tristram Trusty.
He's trusty, but he doesn't say he's fast.
No.
I think that's the thing
Slow,
about...
solid.
Yeah, that seems to be what's suggested there.
Of considerable girth, perhaps.
No idea.
It's a Richard Griffiths role, maybe, today, instead of Jeffrey Palmer.
Is it, you know, I like the vehemences of Custance's replies as well. You know, had you made any promise before them twain? I'd rather be torn in pieces and slain. You know, there's no ambiguity there to Custance's feelings at all, is there? Francis?
Yeah, when Custance first appeared on Monday, I was trying to get a handle on how old she was and, you know, just her character. And then when I was reading the second part of the play yesterday, I suddenly realised it's Imelda Staunton. She'd be perfect.
Great, yeah.
We had a lot of discussion yesterday about Custance. Simon?
Yeah, I was going to say it's quite interesting how we've now got these new characters. I assume because obviously I missed the first day, but I don't think we've seen Trusty and the other T person before. But we've now set up these people that seem quite stalwart and true against these people who are thoroughly disingenuous. So that suggests it could be quite a nice kind of balance for an ending now, which I'm looking forward to.
Yeah, we have met Truepenny, but he hasn't exactly landed on any particular sense of himself. He's just been there. You know, unless anyone has an essay they wish to declare on the inner soul of Truepenny. Lots of hands are starting to fly up. Possibly not on that subject. I'll start with Lynn.
I don't know. This scene strikes me as a little superfluous or redundant because it's just basically a review of like where we are. This guy is wooing me. I have no interest. There might actually be conflict, and so I'm bringing you in because you're my friend. So Yeah, I think maybe this needs a little blue pencil in if you're considering actual production, because she's just telling us stuff we already know.
In many ways, it's far easier to, sorry to interrupt, it's far easier to understand those last two scenes, though, than it has been for me a lot of yesterday, probably because the characters are maybe more direct and to the point rather than the kind of evasiveness that you had. So, but I do take the point that it's a yet another recap of something we know already, yes. But I found that way easier to follow, perhaps because of the way that the language is constructed.
Well, I think it's also that sometimes you need these moments in plays when, you know, lots of people are going out to do something, people are coming back to do something. You know, there is sort of a structural need for a little bit of a pause here to make sure that people have enough time to go off and do the thing that they're supposed to be doing before they come back on again. So it may be a bit repeaty, but it also may be structurally necessary. So there's that. Eric next. I see lots of hands.
I was just going to say, like, on this point, that, like, maybe it's also just to sort of build Custance's frustration, sort of, because obviously she's, like, being questioned by all these men. Like, oh, so you didn't promise yourself to them and stuff, and you didn't, like, have any sort of interest. And it's like, no, of course not. Have you seen the guy? Have you met the guy? And that kind of thing. And it's like, well, it sort of just builds more anticipation also for what's going to happen later.
And also they are confirming the rumours that Shoresby's been presumably spreading. You know, we know he was probably suspicious, but he didn't exactly confirm in absolute terms when he exited earlier. So now it's clear that the news is out, that maybe bad things are happening. Sarah.
Yeah, I was going to make a similar point to Eric, but just the fact that sometimes repetition, it might be structurally necessary, but it's also a really good, useful opportunity to develop psychological structure as well. You know, like if you get a piece in a play that's repeated, it's usually because, you know, the second time you do it in a different way. So the fact that she's repeating her story to someone else, what Eric said about the fact she's having to explain herself to yet another man, it's, I think, really, really funny. And also it just gives her the opportunity to work herself up even more. It's like we were talking yesterday about this amazing journey that Custance has had, and this just it is an opportunity for the actor to ramp it up to the next stage if you want to. You know, if that's the way you want to play her.
And also for this act, for almost the whole of it, Custance has always been on and stuff is coming at her. Yeah. So it's like she's a centre point that everybody's orbiting around. So yes, we got a new selection of people coming at her now. Alan, I saw a hand ages ago.
Yeah, I mean, it was just a comment on the character of Truepenny, which was, I mean, I think he's the kitchen boy. And given that the pecking order in that household has been very clearly established that Custance is somewhat domineering, and the other three, I would suspect, are junior to her but senior to Truepenny. So I suspect he has a dog's life.
Yeah, he's the one who gets kicked to the bottom of the list, doesn't he? Yes, I like that. That might be a good way to give him life, as it were. Helen.
Yes, I think we're in great danger here. I don't think Custance is domineering at all. I think Custance is in charge.
Yeah.
And that's her role in life. Also, what I was actually intending to say was that I am getting very excited about what's going to come out of the kitchen. How the four of them, led by Mumblecrust, and with the young lad, how they are going to dress themselves up in kitchen implements.
I have to say, I'm expecting something along these lines.
And how the army is going to come out and how it's going to deploy on the stage, ready to repel borders. This could be an extraordinary moment.
Hilarious.
And even if it's not in the play, we so pull it in if we don't find it. Sarah, then Eric.
And I just had to say, I love the fact that when Mumblecrust finally came back on, her line was, "And I am here too," at length. As it just picked up on that gag that was going all the way through the first part about how she's like, much slower than everyone else, and just coming on and shuffling off and shuffling on and shuffling on. I love that.
She dances.
She dances. Yeah.
There's almost a Dad's Army one step behind everybody else quality there. Eric.
I was just going to say that the play, although the scenes are not as long as the previous ones, yesterday, it seems to be getting faster. So it's sort of, you can imagine that if this was played at full pace, it would just be frenetic, mad sort of running around, people coming on, people coming off, people doing stuff, people getting ready for the final countdown, kind of final encounter type thing.
Yes, and remember the scene breaks that you're seeing in the script are entirely artificial in that sense as well. That they're not apparent to an audience watching it. They are just ways of breaking up the text, largely based on primary entrances and exits rather than anything else. So it's the way it's reading is not quite the same as necessarily it would be seen. And you're right, pace I think is paramount here. Okay, any other thoughts before we move on? Okay, so Custance is on stage, still with Tristram Trusty, but now, Merrygreek enters. Ooh.
Custance and Trusty both, I do you here well find.
Matthew Merrygreek, you have used me well.
Now, for altogether, he must your answer tell, will he have this man, woman, or else will he not? Else will he come, never bore so brim, nor toast so hot.
But why join ye with him?
For mirth?
Or else in sadness?
The more fond of you both, hardily the matter guess.
Lo, how say ye, dame?
Why, do ye think, Dame Custance, that in this wooing I have meant aught but pastance?
Much things ye spake, I wot, to maintain his dotage.
But well might he judge, I spake it all in mockage. For why is Roister Doister a fit husband for you?
I dare say ye never thought it.
No, to God I vow. But did I know afore of the insurance between Gawin Goodluck and Christian Custance? And did I not for the nonce, by my conveyance, read his letter in a wrong sense for dalliance, that if you could have take it up at the first bound, we should thereat such a sport and pastime have found, that the whole town should have been the merrier.
Ill ache your heads both. I was never wearier, nor never more vexed since the first day I was born.
But very well I wist he here did all in scorn.
But I feared thereof to take dishonesty.
This should have both made sport and showed your honesty. And Goodluck, I dare swear, your wit therein would low.
Yea, being no worse than we know it to be now.
And nothing yet too late, for when I come to him, hither will he repair with sheep's look full grim, by plain force and violence to drive you to yield.
If ye two bid me, we will with him pitch a field, I and my maids together.
Let us see, be bold.
Ye shall see women's war.
That fight will I behold.
If occasion serve, taking his part full brim, I will strike at you. But the rap shall light on him when we first appear.
Then will I run away as though I were afeard.
Do you that part well play, and I will sue for peace.
And I will set him on, then will he look as fierce as a cotsoled lion.
But when goest thou for him?
That I do I very now.
Ye shall find us here.
Well, God have mercy on you.
And exit Merrygreek.
There is no cause of fear. The least boy in the street.
Nay, the least girl I have will make him take his feet. But hark, we think they make preparation.
No fault. It will be a good recreation.
I will stand within and step forth speedily, and so make as though I ran away dreadfully.
And we go into the next scene. We have the entrance of Roister Doister, Merrygreek, Doughty, and yes, slightly confused as to precisely what's going on, precisely who's entering when. We've got two drums with their ensigns coming in. So that's presumably the Doughty and Harpax, and Tristram Trusty is still there. So they've sort of, it's along the lines of Custance and Trusty have made their retreat for the entrance of Roister and Merrygreek et al.
Now, sirs, keep your way and see your hearts be stout. Where be these caitiffs? Methinks they dare not rout. How sayest thou, Merrygreek? What does Kit Custance say?
I am loath to tell you.
Tush, speak, man, yea or nay.
Forsooth, sir, I have spoken for you all that I can. But if ye win her, ye must e'en play the man. E'en to fight it out, you must a man's heart take.
Yes, they shall know, as thou knowest I have a stomach.
A stomach, quoth you? Yea, as good as e'er a man had.
Aye, trow, they shall find and feel that I am a lad.
By this cross, I have seen you eat your meat as well as any that e'er I have seen of or heard tell. A stomach, quoth you? He that will that deny, I know was never at dinner in your company.
Nay, the stomach of a man it is, that I mean.
Nay, the stomach of a horse or a dog, I ween.
Nay, a man's stomach with a melting, mean I.
Ah, 10 men can scarce match you with a spoon in a pie.
Nay, the stomach of a man to try and strife.
I never saw your stomach cloyed yet in my life.
Tush, I mean in strife or fighting to try.
Well, we shall see how ye will strike now, being angry.
Have at thy pate then, and save thy head if thou may.
Nay, then, have at your pate again by this day.
Nay, thou mayst not strike at me again in no wise.
I cannot in fight make to you such warranties. But as for your foes, here let them the bargain buy.
Nay, as for they shall every mother's child die. And in this my fume, a little thing might make me to beat down house and all, and else the devil take me.
If I were as ye be, by Gog's dear mother, I would not leave one stone upon another, though she would redeem it with 20,000 pounds.
Shall be even so by his lily wounds.
Be not at one with her upon any amends.
No, though she make to me never so many friends. Not if all the world for her would undertake. No, not God himself, neither shall not her peace make. On, therefore, march forward. Soft, stay a while yet.
On!
Harry!
Forth!
Back!
On!
Off! Now forward set.
Pause there before we get to, there's lots of interesting things. I think the physicality of what's going on in this is, you know, constantly trying to push him forward, and Roy still going, yeah, I want to fight from, maybe not, yes, no, nah, ooh, and we've had set up here, of course, what Merrygreek, you know, with this parley, someone said in the chat, with Custance of, you know, what's going to happen next, who's in on the game. So we've got all sorts of potential chaos coming up now. But I do love that on tarry forth back.
I think he's got a stone in his shoe. That's on, and hang on, and he said, "Forth, no."
I wonder if it's just the reality of it is just he wants to do the charge, and then he gets to the door and go. It's like, you know, knocking on a door. You don't. Oh no, maybe not.
Yeah, but he does then now forward set. So he changes his mind.
Oh, he's constantly changing his mind, yes.
Yeah.
it's noteworthy to mention that that entire sequence of the on all the way through soft now forward set is a shared line.
Yes.
Yeah.
Text,
Yeah. So it's very fast.
Or it could be very fast.
Yes. I mean, you know, the actors can play it however they like, depending on what gets a bigger laugh.
I do love 10 men can scarce match you with a spoon in a pie.
You call that a knife? This is a knife. That's a spoon. Oh God, that's a very old Simpsons reference now. Other thoughts?
Which they nicked.
Yeah.
Yes.
Other thoughts?
I didn't even know it was Simpsons.
Dundee.
Other thoughts about the parley?
I'm really liking Custance. She's really endearing.
Yes. One of the points she's making is that what is a great joke for all the men actually touches her honour. So there's a lot more danger in it for her.
Yeah, it's like that. It's like that line in Les Liaisons Dangereuses where she says, "You can ruin us with a word."
Yeah, the stakes are much higher. Her marriage, which she desires, is in danger. And just her ability to function in society, if her reputation is badly compromised, that the stakes are very high.
Eric?
I did like that line about you shall feel women's war or whatever, which is kind of like, you know, hey, let's come on, women, let's do this. We can just like take them down by, I don't know, abstaining from sex, for example, as we know in other plays, or you know, lots of other methods. But yeah,
Sarah.
Yeah, I actually found it really interesting that she, once Custance realised what Merrygreek was doing, that she actually was prepared to join in with it, because I can't find it now, but there was a line after she realised what he was doing where she was basically saying how weary she was, how vexed and weary she was of the whole thing. And I kind of thought at that point she was just going to say, oh, no, you know what, just sort it out between you. This is like actually, you know, as Helen said, this is quite dangerous for me and I'm fed up with a lot of you and I'm going in. And instead she actually turned around and said, oh yeah, no, okay, I'll take my revenge. We'll sort this out between us. And I found that really interesting as a character twist.
Well, I'm just wondering whether, because it's when Merrygreek turns to the mentioning explicitly talking about violence, that she warms to the idea. You know, since she's already set that element up, so maybe it's like a case of he's doing, oh, we'll do sport and we'll do stuff, and then and she's going, oh, please, no, and then when he actually by plain force and violence, there might be a bit of a sigh still to it though.
Well, also it could be maybe she's thinking actually if actually he gets the crap beaten out of him this time, because I mean he has done this before, maybe he won't do it again.
Helen?
Yes, also Trusty is a friend of Goodluck, so she has got a witness to her good intent. I think that's quite important.
Because Trusty does say, that fight will I behold.
Yeah.
Yes, and Suresby is spreading dubious information about her because he may have misunderstood what he saw. But by having Trusty in on the plot, she's safeguarding herself.
That's a guarantee.
Okay, so we're going to go into, I think we'll call this the skirmish before the battle proper. We're still in the same scene. Roister and Merrygreek are outwards. thinking of tarrying, now forward set, etc., etc. Enter Custance.
What business have we here? Out, alas, alas.
Didst thou see that Merrygreek, how afraid she was? Didst thou see how she fled apace out of my sight? Ah, good sweet Custance, I pity her by this light.
That tender heart of yours will mar altogether. Thus will ye be turned with wagging of a feather.
On, sirs, keep your ray.
On, forth, while this gear is hot.
Soft, the arms of Calais, I have one thing forgot.
What lack we now?
Retire, or else we'll all be slain.
Back? For the pash of God? Back, sirs, back again! What is this great matter?
This hasty forthgoing had almost brought us to utter undoing. It made me forget a thing most necessary.
Well remembered of a captain by St. Mary.
It is the thing must be had.
Well, let's have it then.
I wot not where or how.
Then wot I not when. But what is it?
But chief thing I am to seek.
Tut. So will he be when he have studied a week. But tell me what it is.
I lack yet an headpiece.
The kitchen collar carvet, the best hens to grease. Run, fet it, Dobinet, and come here at once withal, and bring with thee my pot gun hanging by the wall. I have seen your head with it full many a time, covered as safe as it have been with a scrine. And I warrant it save your head from any stroke, except perchance to be amazed with the smoke. I warrant your head therewith, except for the mist, as safe as it will fast locked up in a chist. And lo, here is our Dobinet, cometh with it now.
Did I miss something?
Are we missing a Doughty? Who's Doughty? Lynn, yes.
No, that's me. Are we in 4-7?
Yes, we are on 4-7, just after the relatively long speech by Merrygreek. You've just entered with a whacking great kitchen pail. Pub kind of thing. I just tried to put a tin of coffee on my head. It didn't work.
I'm sorry. I looked for it, didn't see it. Can you cue me, Merrygreek? I apologize.
Sorry. And lo, here our Dobinet cometh with it now.
It will cover me to the shoulders, welly now.
Let me see it on.
Faith, it doth meetly well.
There can be no fitter thing. Now ye must tell us what to do.
Now, forth and race, sirs, and stop no more.
Now, St. George, to borrow, drum dub-a-dub before.
What mean you to do, sir? Commit manslaughter?
To kill 40 such is a matter of laughter.
And who is it, sir, whom ye intend thus to spill?
Foolish Custance here forceth me against my will.
And is there no mean your extreme wrath to slake? She shall some amends unto your good manship make.
I will none amends.
Is her offence so sore?
And he were a lout, she couldn't have done no more. She called him a fool, addressed him like a fool, mocked him like a fool, and used him like a fool.
Well, yet the sheriff or the justice or constable her misdemeanour to punish might be able.
No, sir, I mine own self will in this present cause be sheriff, justice, and whole judge of the laws. This matter to amend all officers be I shall, constable, bailiff, sergeant.
And hangman and all.
Yet a noble courage and the heart of a man should more honour win by bearing with a woman. Therefore take the law, and let her answer thereto.
Merrygreek, the best way were even so to do. What honour should it be with a woman to fight?
And what then? Will ye thus forego and lose your right?
Nay, I will take the law on her withouten grace.
Or, if your worship could pardon this one trespass, I pray you forgive her.
Ho!
Tush, tush, sir, do not.
Be good master to her.
Ho!
Tush, I say, do not. What? Shall your people here return straight home?
Yea, levy the camp, sirs, and hence again each one. But be still in readiness if I hap to call. I cannot tell what sudden chance may befall.
Do not off your harness, sirs, I you advise, at the least for this fortnight, in no manner wise. Perchance in an hour, when all ye think least, our master's appetite to fight will be best. But soft, ere ye go, have once at Custance house.
Soft, what wilt thou do?
Once discharge my arquebus, and for my heart's ease, have once more with my pot gun.
Hold thy hands, else is all our purpose clean fordone.
And it costs me my life.
I say thou shalt not.
By the mats, but I will have once more with hail shot. I will have some pennyworth. I will not lose all.
And just pause there before the battle proper begins. The possibility there that Merrygreek has actually just fired a whacking great gun. Possibly in the middle of that speech. There's all sorts of stuff here. I think my favourite line of the play, even though it's not in itself a great line, when Custance appears at the top of the section we've just done, what business have we here out, alas, alas, which clearly is so got to be play acted to such a degree, hasn't it? What business have we here? Oh, alas, alas. And then probably just as she exits, just drop and just go, oh, for fuck's sake. Everyone's out of sight, you know. Which then leads to Roister deciding that the game continues. That whole thing of on, tarry, forth, back continues on in this sequence as well. He still doesn't want to go. And then what does he want? Well, they send it. He wants something for his head. They bring him something that's more like a tank by the looks of it. And it's just also the possibility that they're literally drumming on him. So poor person inside just going, yeah, I ain't gonna do it. There's so much potential in this little sequence, even though in a sense it's just still vamping before we actually get to Battle Royale. Lynn.
I wonder if we could play that bit where Roister's saying, wait, we've forgotten something. Is like he's still procrastinating. He's like, he's actually really afraid to. We forgot something. I need what a headpiece. Yeah, that's it. A headpiece. I need a helmet. Yeah, that's it.
And that's the thing, is he's constantly, it's constantly, yes, we'll go, and then, yeah, I don't actually want to do this. He really doesn't want to. Eric.
I like this idea that, like, if you were staging it, like, today, you could dress them up in, like, with garbage cans, like the sort of, like, old-fashioned metallic ones, those, you know, with, like, you know, the, for a cap and stuff. So, like, when you were drumming, it would actually sound like, if you drum on him, it would sound like sort of proper drumming, and also freak out the person inside to the point that they would be like, no, I don't want to do this.
I also quite like rubbish rather than say a washing pail or something, because then you could have rubbish in it, so that when he puts it on, it's just literally there. It's quite like, yeah, it's and remember, we haven't got to the battle yet. That's coming next scene, or continuation of this scene.
They're bearing flags, ensigns. I mean,
so,
this is
tea towels. I'm hoping tea towels. That's what I go in my mind. The improvisatory nature of this whole thing. I'm disappointed that someone's actually got a gun.
Two. He's got an arquebus and a pot gun. Arquebus is a hackbutt. I'm not entirely sure what the pot gun is, unless it's a gun for shooting things for the pot, like a birding piece.
I have no helpful footnotes that I can immediately see to able to add to that. Yeah, I just worry about actually having real offensive weapons. I much prefer comedy without potentially real. Someone put in the chat, you know, strong incel vibe, and I was going, well, if you have that, they'd have automatic weapons, and this whole thing stops being a comedy like that. Other thoughts, Sarah?
Yeah, the reason I put the strong incel vibe was because, for me at least, and I don't know if this is because I'm reading this as a woman, but there were, I mean, Ralph Roister Doister, he's been really objectionable since the beginning of the play. I mean, that's the comedy, but there were a couple of lines where for me anyway, it did just tip into something actually quite nasty, and it would be interesting to know, it'd be interesting to explore that and see how to play it, because of course for a modern audience there would be that that kind of echo of what is occurring in society at the moment. But there was a line, I can't find it now, about where he said, oh, basically she made me do it, which I just thought, oh, okay, that's a whole other that's a whole other tone that he's taking there. And then there was another line where he I can't remember what it was now, but he was, it struck me as being, oh, that's right on the cusp between comedy and something quite a bit nastier.
Other thoughts along those lines, or Simon?
Yeah, I think that's a really good point from you, Sarah. I think the only way would be, you'd have to see him as almost a buffoon, because he is a buffoon in a way. But I think the only way you could probably justify lines like that and threatening violence now would be to make the person who's saying it so ridiculous, and maybe even with a hint of it not being a real threat or anything to do with that, just so much kind of bluster and speech. But it's the rabbit hole we enjoy, I suppose, about old pieces and how they translate.
Dan?
Here, I don't know. If everyone's such a buffoon, I think that's kind of what makes it funny if somebody actually does have a real weapon there. It's like, whoa, I wasn't thinking that. I mean, come on here. So I kind of like the idea, because it's kind of unexpected to see something like that, rather than something we know we would expect them to have ridiculous items. So for someone to actually have a real pot gun or an arquebus, it just escalates it to another level there that, I don't know. I think it can be, I wouldn't mind seeing it personally.
The roister is horrified. Hold thy hands, else is all our purpose clean fordone.
Yes, you can't kill my wife to be. That would be bad. Yes.
Or
Lynn.
shoot guns in the street. That's always forbidden.
Lynn.
Yeah, I kind of tend to agree that the presence of real weapons is super problematic, and that might be partly cultural, because on this side of the herring pond, firearms are so much a part of our culture and are such a social problem in a way they are nowhere else in the developed world. It's just not funny. Not for a lot of us. I mean, part of our problem is that people don't take gun ownership seriously. They treat them like toys or accessories or fashion statements. So yeah, I wouldn't want to play into that. A real gun is funny. Yeah, I'm super uncomfortable with that, but that might be part of coming from American culture. I'm super uncomfortable with it.
I would kind of agree with Lynn, because sometimes when you see something that looks like a real gun, and having directed a few things with like rubber weapons even, there's nothing, depending on the context of the play and the way you're staging it, of course, but there's that whoa moment when you see it, and if it does come out of the kind of blue, it takes you to a completely different place. So I kind of get that.
Francis?
Yeah, as part of, while Lynn was talking, I was trying to think of examples of where guns have been used to comic effect. And it suddenly occurred to me the old Laurel and Hardy shorts. I mean, there were some of those where I can remember their wives grabbed guns and shot them. And so guns can work to comic effect if it's done in the right way, I suppose. Or yeah.
I'm on a sort of structural kick in the sense that this whole sequence is set up, and it's got a set up with a payoff, and we kind of, part of the gag is that we know where it's going. I don't think this is comedy about unexpected resolutions. So I'm wondering whether that actually serves any function. We'll know in a minute, because the scene is we haven't got much more to go before we jump into the next act. So we may basically get an answer to this very interesting discussion. It's a great diversion. I'm liking it very much. Sarah, then Eric, and then we'll move on.
It just suddenly occurred to me that I don't suppose a pop gun could be a pop gun. could it? Because
You're
like
missing the chat.
oh, I'm missing the chat. Oh, okay. I'll forget that then.
The
Because I had
audience
one
at
when
home
I was a
aren't.
kid, and I was thinking like if you had a great big wooden pop gun with a great big cork in the end of it, that would actually be hilarious.
Eric.
I was thinking that this is kind of like, I think it was Sarah who mentioned it on Monday or whenever we started this. I don't know when. Time is weird. When it's kind of like the flip side of courtly love, where it's like making fun of that thing, like, oh, I will die without you, and then also like, I will besiege you until you love me, kind of thing. Whereas this is like literal, well, not literal besieging, but like sort of, yeah, it's just like taking it to a place that is not comfortable at all.
As I say, I'm not so structurally that's what the player's trying to do. I mean, I'd see these guns as being possibly, even for the time, archaic pieces that, you know, that they're going to go bang, but they're not their sound and noise. I know Helen's disagreeing with me, but in terms of if I was staging it today, it would be comedy blunderbuss. That's what you get if they're physically there, and you know, maybe you get some pepper, you know, get buckshot at people, but it wouldn't be a serious offensive weapon. Lynn.
I just want to acknowledge Eric's point because it's so smart, and I'm so embarrassed that I didn't see it first. But this whole besieging the house thing, I mean, of course, they're sending up the Sonic tradition of love equals war. That was the metaphorical arena of warfare was a go-to for love poets over and over and over again in the early modern period, in the sonnet tradition, in the stage tradition. That love as war was becoming a cliche already at this point. So literalizing it is a great send-up of that persistent metaphor, and it didn't even occur to me till Eric pointed it out that that's what's going on here.
Yeah, and we've also got that in even morality traditions of the psychomachia and things like that, where forces of good and evil literally fight it out. So there's all sorts of potential resonances flying all over this, but we possibly have now gone too deep into things, which is basically a very silly fight scene. So we don't have that. It's relatively short, even though it takes up various pages. Everyone be on their toes. There's a lot of quick lines coming up as everything comes to fruition. So we have the entrance onto the scene of Custance. We are going to have her joined at some point by all her peoples. So somewhere in the background we'll have Tib, Alyface, Mumblecrust, etc., Truepenny. All the various servants are going to be involved in this. It's not just the main speakers, and I'm not 100% certain who enters and when, but at the moment Custance definitely is making an appearance from the house.
What caterers are those that so shake my house wall?
Ah, sirrah now, Custance, if he had so much wit, I would see you ask pardon and yourselves submit.
Have I still this ado with a couple of fools?
Hear ye what she saith?
Maidens, come forth with your tools, in array.
Dub-a-dub, sirrah.
In array, they come suddenly on us.
Dub-a-dub-dub.
In array, that ever was I was born, we are taken tardy.
Now, sirs, quit yourselves like tall men and hardy.
On afore, Truepenny, hold thine own, Annot. On toward them, Tibbet, for scape us they cannot. Come forth, Madge Mumblecrust, so stand fast together.
God send us a fair day.
See, they march on hither.
But mistress,
What sayest thou?
shall I go fetch our goose?
What to do?
To yonder captain I will turn her loose, and she gape and hiss at him as she doth at me. I just jeopard my hand, she will make him flee.
On forward.
They come.
Stand.
Hold.
Keep.
There.
Strike.
Take heed.
Well said, Truepenny.
Persons.
Well done indeed.
Hold thine own, Harpax. Down with them, Dobinet.
Now, Madge, there, a knot. Now, stick them, Tibbet!
All my chief quarrel is with this same little knave that beguiled me last day. Ooh, nothing shall him save.
Down with this little queen that hath me such spite. Save you from her master, it is a very sprite.
I myself will mount Sire Grand Captain undertake.
They win ground.
Save yourself, sir, for God's sake.
Out, alas, I am slain, help!
Save yourself.
Alas!
Nay then, have at you, mistress.
Thou hittest me, alas!
I will strike at Custance here.
Thou hittest me!
So I will. Nay, mistress Custance.
Alas, thou hittest me still. Hold!
Save yourself, sir.
Help, oh, alas, I am slain.
Truce, hold your hands. Truce for a pissing while or twain. Now, how say you, Custance, for saving of your life, will ye yield and grant to be this gentleman's wife?
Ye told me he loved me. Call ye this love?
He loved a while, even like a turtle dove.
Gay love, God save it, so soon hot, so soon cold.
I am sorry for you. He could love you yet, so he could.
Nay, by Cock's precious, she shall be none of mine.
Why so?
Come away, by the match she is mankind. I just adventure the loss to my right hand, if she did not slee her other husband, and see if she prepare not again to fight.
What then? St. George to borrow our lady's knight?
She else will, whom she will, by Gog she shall not slee me.
How then?
Rather than to be slain, I will flee.
To it again, my knightesses, down with them all.
Away, 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 she will else kill us all.
Nay, stick to it like a hardy man and a tall.
Ah, bones, thou hittest me. Away or else die we shall.
Away for the passion of our sweet Lord Jesus Christ.
Aha, away, Loughton love, or I shall be thy priest.
And with the sound of somebody's emergency sirens going off in the background, they exit in array. The cops are coming.
So, this field is ours. We have driven them all away.
Thanks to God, mistress, ye have had a fair day.
Well, now go ye in and make yourselves some good cheer.
We go.
We go.
Ah, sir, what a field we have had here.
Friend Tristram, I pray you be a witness with me.
Dame Custance, I shall depose for your honesty. And now, fare you well, except something else you would.
Not now, but when I need to send, I will be bold. I thank you for these pains.
And exit Trusty.
And now will I get me in. Now Roister Doister will no more wooing begin.
And the act closes. So many bits of physical business which we can unpack and figure out who's hitting whom when. I think the important one to discuss here is just precisely the way that Merrygreek, going to swing, goes too far, keeps hitting Roister. I mean, the way you stage that, I mean, this whole thing is incredibly complicated. I think Tibbs' advice is in many ways excellent, but like war elephants, you can't control who the goose is going to attack. Once you set them loose, it's a very, very dangerous weapon to unleash. But yeah, vicious creatures.
Super scary.
So yeah, all sorts of good stuff there. It's really interesting as well, and it sort of resonates for today. Is just this constant thing of be a man up that keeps turning up and just going, oh, that actually speaks to what this player is doing, even though it's all very accidental. I think the problem with what's going on here with these characters. Helen.
I can see Custance, if her house has a balcony, directing her troops from her balcony, so she herself is kept actually just out of the range of the blows.
The general on the field.
Yes.
She's got to come down towards the end of the battle, but I think you're absolutely right at the beginning. I don't see her actually out of the house straight away.
No.
Because she's got to be within reach of Merrygreek. If Merrygreek is going to pretend to punch her and then punches the person next to him, she's got to be physically close enough for that to happen.
I suppose so.
But I like the idea of starting up there. I think that it felt very natural at the very first that she's, out of a window or something.
Yeah. The and I like a pissing while. It's about the same length as a paternoster while, but it's a bit more graphic.
You read it like you liked that line.
Oh, good. A pissing while.
Yes. Alan, I saw a hand.
Yeah, no, I was just thinking the idea with the balcony reminds me of the Duke of Placitoro in Gondoliers. Led his army from behind. He found it less exciting.
Yes, but she doesn't.
No, she's calling out commands all over the place.
Yes.
Yeah, she's calling out commands as she does throughout.
And in array, get yourselves in good order. And I think we got Dub Sirrah. So again, I'm assuming Merrygreek is still constantly going on the poor man's armor and giving him a massive headache. Eric.
See, I imagined the way that the way it was set up was kind of like they're on both sides of a door. So like when Custance opens the door, she's faced with Roister Doister and Merrygreek, and Merrygreek just like tries to reach over him, but obviously misses at her. I don't know. Maybe that's just me being like sort of Thermopylae kind of effect, but I don't know. Yeah.
Simon.
Yeah, maybe Eric's seen the same productions of Noises Off I have, but I was going to use Noises Off as a very good example because for those of you that have ever seen a production, you'll know how tightly choreographed all of the insanity is in the second half of that play. And it's almost like this scene here, which is a real melee, as you would call it, in kind of choreography terms, but it would have to be so carefully done that it would require more rehearsal than anything else. Brilliant. Yeah, could be a really good spectacle, but of course you've got the added challenge in a melee in a modern play. You might think about overlap of dialogue and not worrying, but of course we're dealing with kind of verse. I'm trying to think if they go into prose actually during a lot of it, but trying to get all of that in order somehow and choreograph that would be an absolute mare because it goes on for quite a while. But I think Noises Off was funny enough, the thing that kind of came to my mind because it's such chaos, but it's such well organized chaos.
And what is Mumblecrust armed with, and who is she taking out? I mean, we've got to match up all the various fighters. I think Mumblecrust is probably the most vicious of the lot.
Yeah.
I think she's some serious batterings going on with a rolling pin or something.
She's distaff is her weapon.
Ah, yes.
And you can get an enormous swing with that, fairly indiscriminate. But I think it's quite important that the person on whom every single blow lands is Roister.
Everybody arranges it that he's the one who gets hit.
So yes, whoever they're aiming for,
if
he
he's
gets
basically
hit.
in a giant dustbin, who can't really see, and everybody just sort of keeps moving him around, so he goes dong.
Yeah. Yes, it's like
you could see, it's a pinball machine, isn't it? With him as the ball, and then he loses that for the point when Merrygreek keeps punching him in the face.
That would be a way to stage it, wouldn't it? Have it as a giant pinball game, and then like some sort of flashing graphics in the background. Bing, bing, bonus, double up.
Yes, Eric.
I like the idea that like at the end when they're sort of defeated, like maybe Custance comes out with like a broom to sort of take out the rubbish kind of thing, and then goes back in.
It will be one of the other servants. It will be one of the servants.
Oh no, she gives them the time off, go in and make some good cheer, and they'll go, oh, we go. That doesn't happen often. We got a holiday. I don't think Customs gives them that much time off. Trusty going, yeah, I agree with you.
Yes, but I mean, she is friend Tristram, I pray you be a witness with me. And he says, Dame Custance, I shall depose for your honesty. This is very formal, a formal deposition. It's a witness statement. This is legal language.
They've got the outcome they wanted. So it all has gone well. We will move on, however. If you have any additional thoughts, hold on to them for a little later on. We're into Act 5. Where can the play go? after that set piece. I suspect it's not going to go. It's not going to go into more frenetic isms. But who knows? Who knows? So Act 5, we have a little opens with a conflab between Gawin Goodluck, who we've not met yet, so new character, and Suresby.
Suresby, my trusty man, now advise thee well, and see that no false surmises thou me tell. What's there such ado about Custance, of a truth?
To report that I heard and sort of agree is rude. But both my duty and name and property warneth me to you to show fidelity. It may be well enough, and I wish it so to be. She may herself discharge and try her honesty. Yet their claim to her, methought, was very large. For with letters, rings, and tokens they did her charge, which when I heard and saw, I would none to you bring.
No, by St. Mary, I allow thee in that thing. Ah, sirrah, now I see truth in the proverb old, all things that shineth is not that by and by pure gold. If any do live a woman of honesty, I would have sworn Christian Custance had been she.
Sir, though I to you be a servant true and just, yet do not ye therefore your faithful spouse mistrust, but examine the matter, and if ye shall find it, and if ye shall it find, to be or well, be not ye for my words unkind.
I shall do that is right, and as I see cause why. But here cometh Custance forth. We shall know by and by.
And enter Custance.
I come forth to see and hearken for good news, for about this hour is the time of likelihood that Gawin Goodluck, by the sayings of Suresby, would be at home. And lo, yond I see him. I, what Gawin Goodluck, the only hope of my life, welcome home and kiss me, your true espoused wife.
Nay, soft, Dame Custance. I must first, by your licence, see whether all things be clear in your conscience. I hear of your doings to me very strange.
What? Fear ye that my faith towards you should change?
I must needs mistrust ye, be elsewhere entangled, for I hear that certain men with you have wrangled about the promise of marriage by you to their maid.
Could any man's report therein your mind persuade?
Well, you must therein declare yourself to stand clear, else I and you, Dame Custance, may not join this year.
Then would I were dead, and fair laid in my grave. Ah, Suresby, is this the honesty that ye have, to hurt me with your report, not knowing the thing?
Sure. If ye be honest, my words can hurt you nothing, but what I heard and saw, I might not but report.
Ah, Lord, help poor widows, destitute of comfort. Truly, most dear spouse, naught was undone but for pastance.
But such kind of sporting is homely dalliance.
If ye knew the truth, ye would take all in good part.
By your leave, I am not half well skilled in that art.
It was none but Roister Doister, that foolish mome.
Yea, Custance, better, they say, a bad excuse than none.
Why, Tristram Trusty, sir, your true and faithful friend, was privy both to the beginning and the end. Let him be the judge, and for me testify.
I will the more credit that he shall verify, and because I will the truth known, e'en as it is, I will to him myself, and know all without miss. Come on, Sim Suresby, that before my friend thou may avouch thee the same words which thou didst to me say.
And they exit, leaving Christian Custance alone on stage.
O Lord, how necessary it is nowadays that each body live uprightly all manner ways. For let never so little a gap be open, and be sure of this, the worst shall be spoken. How innocent stand I in this deed or thought, in this for deed or thought, and yet see what mistrust towards me it hath wrought. But thou, Lord, knowest all folks' thoughts and eke intents, and thou art the deliverer of all innocence. Thou didst help the advoutress that she might be amended, much more than help, Lord, that never ill intended. Thou didst help Susanna, wrongfully accused, and no less dost thou see, Lord, how I am now abused. Thou didst help Hester when she should have died. Help also, good Lord, that my truth may be tried. Yet if Gawin, Goodluck, with Tristram Trusty speak, I trust of ill report the force shall be but weak. And lo, yon they come, sadly talking together. I will abide and not shrink for their coming hither.
Indeed, yes. Goodluck and Trusty and Suresby enter unto Custance.
And was it none other than ye to me report?
No, and here were ye wished to have seen the sport.
Would I had rather than half of that in my purse.
Sure, and I do much rejoice the matter was no less, and like as to open it, I was to you faithful. So then Custance, honest, true, I am joyful. For God forbid that I should hurt our battle's report.
Well, I will no longer hold her in discomfort.
Now come they hitherward. I trust all shall be well.
Sweet Custance, neither heart can think nor tongue tell how much I joy in your constant fidelity. Come now, kiss me, the pearl of perfect honesty.
God, let me no longer to continue in life than I shall towards you continue a true wife.
Well, now to make you for this some part of amends, I shall first desire you, and then such of our friends as to you shall seem best, to sup at home with me, where at your fort field we shall laugh and merry be.
And mistress, I beseech you, take with me no grief. I did a true man's part, not wishing you grief.
Though hasty reports, through surmises growing, may of poor innocence be utter overthrowing, yet because to thy master thou hast a true heart, and I know mine own truth, I forgive thee for my part.
Go we all to my house, and of this gear no more. Go, prepare all things, Jim Shoresby. Hence, run afore.
I go.
And exit Suresby.
Good. But who cometh yond? Master Merrygreek.
Roister Doister's champion, I shrew his best cheek.
Roister Doister's self, your wooer, is with him too. Surely something there is with us that they have to do.
And we'll just pause there before we get to the final climax. So Custance is reunited with her affianced, and everything's fine. There's possibly too many words I felt in this. I was keeping sort of just going, get to the fine, just get to them being fine. We know it's coming, just get to it. I did feel when Custance comes out and goes, I come forth to see and hearken for good news, and I go, just see your fiance, just see him. We don't need these lines. First point of impatience on me on the overwriting of this play. Sarah.
Yeah, it would be really nice if that could be edited in some way that the hero of the piece, Goodluck, actually believes his affianced. Like, it would be really nice if the woman was actually believed for once, and he didn't need the whole rigmarole of having to check with another man to discover that she's actually okay. You know, it's like, oh, really? Are we doing that again? Okay.
Lynn.
Yes, I guess I'm not as patient as Robert, and I want to echo what Sarah just said. So the aspiring dramaturg in me, in my imaginary adaptation of this, I really want to get rid of Trusty altogether, and just have the uncertainty about Custance's behavior resolved between Gawin and Christian without his mediation, partly to just sort of tighten it up, and partly just because of what Sarah said. It would be nice if a woman was just believed on her own report rather than having to have a man back her up.
Helen.
Yes, I completely concur with what you've said, except, of course, that by doing that, you then lose the historical part of this.
Don't care.
Yeah, I know, you can do without it. Just before Act 5, Scene 4, 2 lines before, and lo, yon they come, sadly talking together. Sadly there means seriously. Not sadly.
Simon.
Yeah, maybe part of the problem why we've all lost interest a little bit is that it's rather akin to coming off the motorway and then having to drop down to 30. When you've had that big set piece and then now it's just blah 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 blah.
There's just slightly too many words.
It's very Lord of the Ringsy now, isn't it?
This thing of, we are coming down. That's the arc of the way the thing functions. We're not going to another farcical situation. We're probably going into something that's moderately amusing, he said, and but we're not still going upwards, and that's not what's going on. There is an interesting question about the shape of what's happening to Custance, because from the Helen was talking about history, but also on a dramaturgical point throughout the play, that we've had this tension about Custance needing to be seen to be that's being an important thing for her to be believed in a wider world context. And if we don't have the witness, then that takes out that element of jeopardy that we might have throughout the play. That doesn't mean it matters, because it's a comedy and it moves very, very quickly. But that's just to take another angle on Helen's point about a reason not to necessarily change too much within the shape of what the narrative is doing. But I'm sure there'll be lots of disagreements on that front, and I'm not really fighting for it particularly hard. Sarah.
I think the jeopardy would still be there, just because this is an early modern play. All of the stuff about how she needs to be seen to be doing the right thing, to maintain her reputation. All of that is there just because of when this play was written. So I think the jeopardy and the suspense of will she be believed would still be there all the way through the play, and that sense of danger would remain. It would, though, just be quite nice if all of that was undercut at this point, where he turns up and he says, "Oh, I hear you've been, hanging out with these other men. What's been going on?" And she says, "Oh, yeah." And she explains, and he goes, "Oh, right, fair enough. I'll believe you." Because I mean, although, yeah, historically, the word of a man obviously at this point would have carried a lot more. I can't believe that there weren't men at this point in history that didn't actually believe women. Okay, there might have been less of them, but I'm sure there must have been a few. And it would be quite nice if Goodluck turned out to be one of them.
Helen.
It doesn't matter what Goodluck believes. Goodluck also has to worry about what her general reputation is.
Yeah.
Because if she is generally believed to have encouraged Roister Doister, then she is not, however much he may believe her part of it, if her general reputation is bad, then she's not for him. It's a complex business.
She could be. It depends on the kind of man he is.
He's a merchant.
Yeah.
Okay, we have probably run that one into the ground, but it's good to go with that. Variations can occur, which your hypothetical production. You can do what you like with it. So, other thoughts before we go into the final home straight? No. Okay. Act 5. It's labelled as Scene 5, and it's we have the return to to them on stage of Merrygreek and Roister. I'm assuming that Roister Doister is covered in bruises and bandages, but who knows?
Yonder I see Gawin Goodluck, to whom lieth my message. I will first salute him after his long voyage, and then make all things well concerning your behalf.
Yea, for the passion of God.
Hence out of sight ye calf, till I have spoken with them. Then I will you fetch.
In God's name.
What, Master Gawin Goodluck, well met from your long voyage. I bid you right welcome home.
Thank you.
I come to you from an honest mome.
Who's that?
Roister Doister, that doughty kite.
Fie, I can scarce abide ye should his name recite.
Ye must take him to favour and pardon all past. He heareth of your return and is full ill aghast.
I'm right well content he hath with us some cheer.
Fie upon him, beast, then will not I be there.
Why, Custance, do you hate him more than you love me?
But for your mind, sir, where he were, would I not be?
He would make us all laugh.
He ne'er had better sport.
I pray you, sweet Custance, let to him us resort.
To your will I assent.
Why, such a fool it is, as no man for good pastime would forego or miss.
Let him to go with us.
He will be a glad man.
And exit.
We must, to make us mirth, maintain him all we can. And lo, yond he cometh, and Merrygreek with him.
At his first entrance ye shall see I will him trim. But first let us hearken the gentleman's wise talk.
I pray you, mark, if ever ye saw crane so stalk.
So yes, when it said exit, I think it's more he moved upstage to grab Roister Doister and bring him back downstage to where everybody else is, or similar mechanics. So here we have Roister and Merrygreek as we go into Act 5, Scene 6, primarily talking amongst themselves before they join the rest of the party.
May I then be bold?
I warrant you upon my word. They say they shall be sick, but ye be at their board.
They were not angry then?
Yea, at first, and made strange. But when I said your anger to favour should change, and therewith had commended you accordingly, they were all in love with your mastership by and by, and cried you mercy that they had done you wrong.
For why? No man, woman, nor child can hate me long.
We fear, quoth they, he will be avenged one day. Then for a penny give all our lives we may.
Say they so indeed?
Did they? Yea, even with one voice. He will forgive all, quoth I. Oh, how they did rejoice. Go fetch him, say they, while he is in a good mood. For have his anger who lost, we will not by the rude.
I pray God that it be all true, that thou hast me told, and that she fight no more.
I warrant you, be bold. To them and salute them.
Sirs, I greet you all well.
Mastership is welcome.
Saving my quarrel, for sure I will put you up into the exchequer.
Why so? Better nay, wherefore?
For a usurer.
I am no usurer, good mistress, by his arms.
When he took gain of money. When took he gain of money to any man's harms?
Yes, a foul usurer he is. Ye shall see else.
Didst not thou promise she would pick no more quarrels?
He will lend no blows, but he have in recompense 15 for 1, which is too much of conscience.
Ah, dame, by the ancient law of arms, a man hath no honour to foil his hands on a woman.
And where other usurers take their gains yearly, this man is angry, but he have his by and by.
Sir, Do not for her sake bear me your displeasure.
Well, he shall with you talk thereof at more leisure. Upon your good usage, he will now shake your hand.
And much heartily welcome from a strange land.
Be not afeard, Gawin, to let him shake your fist.
Oh, the most honest gentleman that e'er I wist. I do beseech your marship to take pain to sup.
He shall not say you nay, and I too, by Jesus, because ye shall be friends and let all quarrels pass.
I will be as good friends with them as e'er I was.
Then let me fetch your choir, that we may have a song.
Go.
I've heard no melody all this year long.
Come on, sirs, quickly.
Sing on, sirs, for my friend's sake.
Doughty.
Call you these your friends?
Sing on, and no more words make.
And they sing a song.
The Lord preserve our most noble queen of renown, and her virtue for reward with a heavenly crown.
The Lord strengthen her most excellent majesty, long to reign over us in all prosperity.
That her godly proceedings the faith to defend, he may establish and maintain through to the end.
God grant her as she doth the gospel to protect, learning and virtue to advance, and vice to correct.
God grant her loving subjects both the mind and grace, her most godly proceedings worthily to embrace.
Her Highness most worthy counsellors, God prosper, with honour and love all men to minister.
God grant
God grant the nobility, her to serve and love,
with all
the commonality, as doth them behove.
Yes, it always goes so well when everyone tries to do the
chorus.
all line together on Zoom, doesn't it? And that's the end of the play. We've all said, hey, isn't the Queen great? Which Queen? You can decide amongst yourselves. It could be Mary, it could be Elizabeth, depending on when that particular section was adjusted in later times. Yeah, it's all just sort of shake hands, everyone. Aren't we all fine? In terms of narrative thrust. Yeah, I'm feeling Act 5 is just gut, and just get to the end, so we can have a sing song. Very little of it sort of mattered. Just basic tidy up time. Eric.
I was gonna say it feels like like they've just sort of written extra parts sort of for Ralph to come back, because like maybe people love the actor so much. I don't know if that's just me, but like it's sort of because the reconciliation scene isn't really necessary to speak, so to speak. I don't know, maybe that's just
a comedy. Everybody's got to be happy at the
I
end.
know, but like it's just like the funniest part is the bit where they're beating each other up basically in Constance
Comedy
goes,
is only
"Yay."
funny if you come out the other side okay. If he dies of his injuries, then it's no longer a comedy. However deserving he might be. Sarah first.
Yeah, I just have a question because I didn't quite follow that usury conceit that Custance was using. Can someone explain that to me?
Yeah, please.
Yeah, I have a take on that.
Oh, go Lynn.
She's twitting him about being a usurer because he gave one blow and got 15 back.
Oh, right. Yes, that explains it. Thank you.
Yeah, excellent. Yeah, I mean, it's sort of all witty, ha ha ha, ness. So, yeah, stuff happens there. Stuff happened.
Roister's reply to that is good. That the ancient law of arms says that he can't hit a woman. Hasn't stopped him.
Hasn't stopped him from having a jolly good try.
Then, yeah.
Yes, it's it's also interesting going back to before the sort of final resolution, just when Custance is talking about people, believing and people being wrongfully accused, and talking about Susanna and Hester and all those characters, some of whom are being performed at around about the same time as this play is. So I'm wondering if there's almost an internal market topicality to this. You may remember from that I don't know the precise chronology off the top of my head whether that's entirely appropriate. I know Susanna's there's a Susanna play that's later, but there's definitely a Hester around about now. But that might be a few years later, so I could be talking complete nonsense. Helen.
There is also, if we're going to be talking about the Queen issue, at the beginning, certainly, of Mary's reign, when she is establishing that she is a king who happens to be a woman, which is a totally novel thing for England, that a lot of biblical women are brought in, people like Susanna, Hester, Deborah, various others, especially those who went through a rough time, which she did, and triumphed in the end. So if we're talking about the Queen, and then 6 years later when Elizabeth came in for when this play was printed, she adopted everything that Mary had set up. Elizabeth didn't have to break the mold because Mary had already done it. Mm. So just as this ending could very easily be adopted by Elizabeth, it could have been written for Mary. Mm. Because it's very difficult to tell the difference between the early Elizabeth and Mary in words of praise, because they both use the same tropes.
I did wonder whether the song and the bit of praise to her is whether they're lyrics to the song or whether there's a song and then there's the praising.
I think that's sung.
Well, it's difficult to tell because if it's a later edition, it might not be.
It does feel tacked on, doesn't it? But I'm just reading, the faith to defend, of course. Where is it? The gospel to protect, etc., etc. It does sound very much like I don't know. It felt a bit incongruous to me for the rest of it. So it definitely feels tacked on, and I wonder if that's because, as you say, written in the time of Mary and then adapted for Elizabeth, perhaps.
You wouldn't need to adapt it. This would do exactly well for the whole of Mary and early Elizabeth. It's only after 1570 that you can really tell the difference between them.
Right.
Dan?
It might be worth noting that at the end of the print, there's 4 songs that occupy 3 pages.
Yeah.
I'd be happy to.
For ease of reference, I put them back where they live in the script.
You did.
Yeah, so they did. We went through the songs where they actually lived. The printing of the plays is really quite untidy in places. So all of the songs are clustered at the end, or the ones we got lyrics for, it's quite a job figuring out where certain bits go. So the bell section, some of that dialogue lives in slightly funny places. It was a real headache. Which is why I'm quite glad the worst we got was a random shores and the odd misplaced speech prefix, because this was a mess. And we got a lot of stage directions that should be added into it as well, or at least we should be flagging up potential for how the stage directions might live, even if we can't say for certain where certain actions occur. We should be saying, making notes of this is where somewhere around here someone's getting hit, someone over there is hitting some. There's a lot of potential here. It isn't wholly supported by the script. Dan?
It is interesting to note, though, because it's fairly consistent about keeping the shared lines there, as well as all the indents as to where, for the songs, for example. It seems to me that whoever did print this did take some care as to how this play should be at least structured in some way, in some way, shape, or form, even despite the fact that it doesn't have, I guess, key stage directions for a reader. I mean, which obviously this is a play, and it wouldn't necessarily have that anyway since it's being staged. This is something that they'd be working on rehearsal. But I guess for our purposes, obviously, it's not as useful.
Yeah, and it's not uncommon for song lyrics to live at the end of a play script. I mean, it's just that these are much more incorporated within the action than others. You know, they are not just random songs. Some of them are just random songs where now we're going to sing. A lot of them feature within the action, so it does get a bit fiddly. Okay, so we're at the end of the process. We've gone through the world of Mumblecrust and found much of it good to chew on. So it's really a question now of talking about what we'd like to do with this, what we'd like to keep, what we'd like to throw out, our own individual hypothetical productions that we have in our heads, and see what we'd like to throw at this. You know, it's a play that basically has a set. You know, it's outside Custance's house. That's basically where it's at. So you can build a set. It's not like we're changing locations a lot. You know, we can make decisions about when we might want to set it. We can decide. It's a relatively long play. I mean, it's easily over 2 hours and a bit, plus songs. You know, this could be a very, very long play. And for a comedy, we don't necessarily want to keep it that long. Even though it moves pretty fast, you know, there's a lot of text here. So all options are on the table for your hypothetical productions, and more importantly, who you'd like to play. So let's go around the room for final thoughts on that. Let's start with Helen. Helen, final thoughts. Who do you want to play?
Well, I mean, obviously, the heroine of the entire thing is Mumblecrust. I mean, who else would one want to play? Especially with my age and girth, I think it's frankly typecasting. I've got slightly more teeth than she has, but...
Can be arranged.
Yeah, but I just want to say a quick word about the last passage, because I've just been having a quick look down the text, and it is almost exactly the words of our present national anthem. Long to reign over us. I mean, is it? But it's perfect. I mean, it is the national anthem, a paraphrase of it.
Or vice versa.
Well, there you go. And I just thought I would mention that because I'd spotted it.
Yes. So Helen, what would you do with this play? What's your ideal way?
I'd put it on. I think it's fantastic. I had absolutely no idea. It's completely new to me. Often heard of it, never read it. Probably even got a couple of copies of it picked up from second-hand bookshops. No, it's a first-rate little play, and it deserves a great deal of production.
Excellent. Sarah, final thoughts from you? What would you do? Who would you be?
Who would I be? I'd want to direct it. With the proviso that I would need someone who was very good at stage combat / choreography to work with. But yeah, no, I would want to direct it because I just, I like Helen, I love it. I think it's a great play for a modern audience. It absolutely needs to be staged because I think it would go down extremely well with a contemporary audience. I would take my editor's pen to the final act for sure. There might be other bits earlier on that I would cut, but honestly, I don't know that I would much. I would probably look at seeing if I could double up Harpax and Doughty with Suresby and Trusty. But every time I say Trusty, I think of a hedgehog. But like, but I would I'd try and see if I could like double up because it like they don't really seem to. I mean, Doughty's got a fun speech at the beginning, but then he doesn't really come back much. And then you've got Suresby and Trusty later on. So I'm sure you could do some doubling there. But yeah, I would heavily trim the final act and put it on because it's fabulous. And I think there is so much you could get out of it and have fun with.
I mean, to be fair to the final act, it is actually incredibly short as it is. We took our time reading it. The problem with doubling in this play is the fight. You reduce the company and you reduce the fun you can have with Act 4. Because you've got to have equal opponents on either side. So you would only. I mean, the Scrivener's easily enough to double. But you kind of need a relatively equal fighting force either side.
That would be okay though, because Suresby, Trusty's in the fight, but Suresby's off, so he could go back to being one of Roister Doister's persons, and then I mean I don't know. I mean Goodluck, he could double as another. You know, if there was somebody who was playing like both parts who needed to be on stage in the fight on one side, the guy playing Goodluck could come in and take the other part maybe, provided he was in some sort of disguise. I don't know, I would have thought it would be...
It's a company of 13 as writ. I see it as a company of 10 as performed.
Yeah.
I don't think you can do it less because even though some of the parts are very small, it's frustrating because I would like to get it down. But you've also got the musical element as well. So you've got people who are effectively musicians. And I kind of don't want to muck around with this one too much in terms of reducing it because I kind of think it wouldn't damage it too. It's not like Respublica where you've got a completely unbalanced dramatic structure where the final act you have suddenly lots of more people. You have lots of people doing jobs throughout. I agree. I think you could get it down to 10.
You could definitely cut a couple out, I reckon. Yeah.
Because you're right. Gawin Goodluck can be anybody. Pretty much. Right, Eric, final thoughts.
I enjoyed it. It's just like I'm kind of like wrestling like that thing that we talked about, like, you know, when you analyze comedy too much, it kind of breaks down. But like I enjoyed like the sort of setup of the whole, you know, they're basically gonna go to war probably with kitchen implements, maybe like a spoon and like a spatula or something. I don't know. And I think that was my favorite scene basically. And also I think if I were, you know, performing in it as opposed to, you know, sort of backstage or something, I'd probably be the goose.
You'd be the goose. Excellent. Who's the gander? Right. Lynn, final thoughts.
Okay. Yes. Well, yeah, I'm sort of in line with pretty much in line with people so far. Absolutely worth staging. I am actually fairly ruthless and blasphemous when it comes to adaptation. I've actually done a couple of adaptations of other early modern texts, and I just don't GAF. I got to get it for the production company that I work with. I got to get it down to 215 max because of we do this outdoors in the evening and we lose the sun. So it's like, I don't have a choice. We got it. So I'm kind of used to getting the editor's pruning shears out and like this goes. So I'm saying, Trusty, bye. We got to work it out so that Gawin is inclined to believe that this is all a tempest in a teapot, and then Merrygreek shows up to confirm that. And then we have a song. Act 5 is way too long. So Trusty goes, Act 5, much shorter. And I take Eric's point from earlier that let's bring everybody together and say, ha, 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 wasn't this funny? It seems a little forced, but I think it's necessary. I think it's necessary to have all those bodies on stage and Merrygreek going, haha, I just did this for a gag. And this is the sort of Shaggy Dog story punchline to get lunch, dinner. Because that was his speech in the beginning. I eat here one day and here one day, and now I need to fix it so I get my main meal of the day And this whole thing, all of this manipulating people and having battles, it's all so that he can have lunch at Goodluck's house. That's the gag.
I mean, it's very like Dickon the Bedlam in Gamma-Gurdon's Needle, where he doesn't get punished at the end at all, really, and everybody goes ha 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 ha, isn't it? It's lovely, and they all go home. So yeah, I mean, I think with any comedy there is a sort of slight forcedness to the ending, and I think we just lean into it. Just make it work. If you don't feel it, fake it. That'll do very nicely. Francis, final thoughts?
It's funny. I haven't enjoyed reading this play as much as other people in the room. Not that I didn't enjoy it, but I think it's. I can see that it's a treasure chest of theatrical delights. So I think for me it would work a lot better on stage, actually being staged. It's one of those plays that you have to see it, and I think with the right director and the right cast, it would just be it could be absolutely wonderful. And I found the discussion, particularly with regard to guns and the position of women. In the time at which the play is set, I found that discussion very interesting. Yeah, and as for who I would play, I'd probably best cast is Truepenny.
Are you young enough, Francis?
Helen.
There is a case. We do need any production would need to make a decision about what its approach to the various angles to the play are, to a degree before you start, but certainly in response also with the company itself. So yes, Elizabeth, any final thoughts?
Yeah, I really enjoyed the play. I did actually like it a lot. I like the strong women in it. I think I like the especially Custance. I think she really stands out. But there was a bit in the middle where I think it kind of lagged a bit. We had a lot of double acting with Merrygreek and Roister Doister. And for me, in the middle, that, and it became a bit boring. And then today it just picked up again, and we had whole ensemble casting going on, and lots of ensemble pieces and set pieces, which I thought were really exciting. So even the shape of the play is good, and it needs to be kept like that, or there needs to be some pruning down. But I think actually the general shape of the play, from when I came into it, is really, really strong for a performance, for a cast.
Yeah, I'm really glad you brought that up, because it wasn't really articulated too much yesterday. But yes, the middle portion is very much a double act that can get tiresome and sort of slightly overbalances that central section. So I have to say, in my mind, that's the bit where I'm thinking about either super fast or pruned. That's where the pruning shields for me actually live. I don't have a problem with the length of Act 5, just with the quality actually of the dialogue to a degree. It becomes a bit flat. So the pacing of it's fine. But yeah, it's that middle section that for me, I slightly think it's self-indulgent. It doesn't mean it's not funny, and it couldn't work incredibly well, but it does unbalance the ensemble. So yeah, Elizabeth went really like. Alan, final thoughts?
I must admit, I'm back to where I was on the first section. It's such a physical comedy that I just didn't find the words working for me. And I'm not quite at the point that Helen was at on Monday with her judgment on that play, but I'm getting close to it.
What on earth did I say on Monday?
Yeah.
Put it in a sack and throw it in the canal.
Oh, right. Oh, gosh, yes, but that was a different play altogether.
Yeah.
My reaction to this
badly
is not
written.
dissimilar.
Oh, no. I think Elizabeth has hit something that I'd completely forgotten about, which is that we have the whole problem of Roister Doister's, what I still think of as his mental illness. And I think quite a lot of, possibly even his dying and being revived, could in fact go.
Oh no, I couldn't agree to that.
I think maybe there's just a chip in my brain missing that I just don't particularly go for stage comedy.
You miserable person.
Okay, let's keep it polite. No, it's it is a problem with this format. You know, this format works very well for plays that work primarily on language, and I do actually like the language of the play. I think the words are very good, and there's a lot of good verbal fencing that happens, which requires a lot of work, but also only really works in conjunction with the physical staging. Creates all sorts of issues. Simon, you smiled when you were talking. I think Sarah mentioned, wanting stage combat and stage choreography for this play, and you were just going,
Yeah.
What's your take on that, Simon?
Yeah, I think that would be my preferred involvement with the production, because I kind of echo a lot of what Francis and Elizabeth said. Actually, I didn't particularly enjoy reading it, and what Alan said was pretty valid to me as well. But I felt it's really weird to have read Merrygreek yesterday and to have come in after missing the first bit. I didn't enjoy yesterday very much at all reading that, and it's because I guess when you're reading it, you can't maybe analyze it as much, and kind of therefore can't kind of work it out if you've come to it a bit cold. But I did feel that it was very unbalanced. I vastly prefer today. Vastly, and with kind of respect to what I would do with it if I directed it. I don't know, it kind of reminded me in some way of some restoration comedies if you play it fast, but without those annoying contemporaneous societal references that we all go, to when we hear and read. But if you played it like that, I can't see it not working with a bit of gusto. And with regards to what Lynn was saying about cutting things, I completely agree. I really hold no truck with, forgive me if there are any purists among us who are there, do not alter it a bit. But I think that with anything, if it doesn't speak to you as a director or as an actor particularly, but as a director, of course, as a dramaturg, if it doesn't really work for you, it's not going to work for them, if you will. So you have to get to a point where I think you enjoy it enough to tell the story that other people might enjoy it. So I would be quite ruthless with that middle section, certainly.
Yeah, it really does speak to, in my mind, of thinking that, Udall had the usage of two very, very good comic actors. He seems to have written a number of the, at least two parts, he said, that are very similar in two plays. And, Simon played the victim part in Jack Juggler when we did it for audio. And, maybe we should have made you the victim this time. Maybe we'd have enjoyed it more.
I don't know. I did prefer Jack Juggler as a piece, actually.
But that was sort of very explicitly a two-hander, so it wasn't sort of, it wasn't. That's why I wouldn't want to get rid of the graves, the dying scene, is because that is an ensemble moment, as opposed to the rest of it is actually very.
That's the bit I did enjoy yesterday, actually, the death scene and bringing it back to life, because it was all about like manipulating this kind of marionettic, foolish person. That was great, but no, I certainly agree with a lot of the other people that found some of it a bit.
And the fake death sequence also speaks to sort of folk traditions of the knight coming in, dying, and being brought back to life, which we've seen in other plays as well. With the various marriage plays that we've looked at. It is a mini trope, and it does turn up all over the place. So it feeds into that. Which is quite fun. I think Dan is the last one for final thoughts.
Yes. This is a play that, you hear, well, at least if you read this type of stuff or read this type of I guess, scholarship on plays, you hear about a lot. And so it was one I was really looking forward to reading, for us to read out. From the section that I read today, as well as from what I know about the play, I really enjoyed it. It reminds me of pre-Hays Code Hollywood. So I'm very much of a fan of, I don't mind editing a play at all in terms of, okay, we got to cut some lines, got to cut some sections or move something here or there. But what I'm not a fan of is changing it to please, in such a way to please today's audience. I'm less concerned with that because I guess in my fictional early modern theater, the people who'd want to see this play, or who probably might be most interested in seeing this type of play, are also interested for historical reasons. So what is it that existed at the time? What is it, who was it they were writing for? What types of characters were they writing? So yeah, I mean, obviously we've got problems with women in here, and with, I guess, yeah, violence towards and whatnot. I don't agree with this at all, of course, but this is what was written at the time. I do want to see what was being portrayed. And I don't want to necessarily have it being portrayed in such a way that it's problematic back then. If it's problematic now, then yes, that should be a reaction. But I think it should just be played or read out, acted honestly. And as far as the pacing, yeah, it cracks along. I love that the songs. I love the lyrics. I love how I think that those are judiciously used, and I do think that it does lend something at the end of Act 5 there. I think it is a necessary facet. I think not only is it structurally what we're used to with these types of plays, but yeah, we need this comedy to get wrapped up in a tidy manner, or else it's not a comedy.
Just a thing on cuts and different lengths of versions and presenting that to the world. I mean, one of the things we do with the podcast, or we have been doing, is we record every single word for the podcast. And we do a rough cut, which we then do as a demonstration version to see the whole play as words. And then we call these spoilers episodes. So I will then pontificate my way through the rough cut, stopping and starting, but a bit like this. But then we let the whichever section we're looking at run in its entirety without a single, absolutely every word correct as best as possible. Then take that rough cut and create a full cast audio version, which is then turned into whatever works best for audio, or just seems like a good idea at the time. So Gamma Gurton's Needle, which is very similar to this, has a whole series of sections that are really good. There's a lovely speech about a cat, which I was very low. I basically cut the cat out of Gamma Gurton's Needle in the final edit because it just didn't land in the actual production. And I think that's always the thing, is that we have the technology. And this session, for example, we've done absolutely every single word. And if we recorded it as an audio play, we'd still record every single word, but the final edit could be whatever people wanted it to be. And then from that point onwards, whatever production wants to be can be whatever it wants to be. When it comes to cutting and adjusting plays for live production, at the moment, I'm mostly thinking about pragmatics. Can we get the cast down to a cast we can afford to have? Can we present something that in its best way for us that's going to be fun, which might then yield future productions that can be maybe fuller and maybe more textually accurate. So sometimes to reach a complete text performance, you actually need a stepping stone of bits. And in this case, I don't really see that. I see that we would trim it to taste and the director's fancy. Director's choice, it's their show, they can do what they like. But that may lead to other productions and other thoughts, and the world is a multitude. I think this has been a cracking few days. We've come up with some really interesting thoughts. We've only scratched the surface of the potential gags we could get out of this play. As a clown, my thinking is always, can I get another laugh out of this? Cool. Where's the next gag? Where's there's more comedy to be squeezed out of this situation? And I think there's still a lot more to be got. And hopefully we will do that next time we look at this. All that remains is to thank all the readers who are here or who have had to nip out early. And thank you very much, and goodbye.
Bye.
Bye.
Thank you. Bye bye.